Who exactly was Al-Khidr? It's one of the greatest mysteries in Islamic history. The Qur'an never actually mentions his name. In Surah Al-Kahf, Allah simply calls him one of our servants, whom we had given mercy from us and taught knowledge from ourselves. Most Sunni scholars identify this servant as Al-Khidr based on authentic hadith. The story begins with an authentic hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. One day, Moses was giving a sermon when someone asked, "Who is the most knowledgeable person on earth?" Moses replied, "I am." Although he spoke truthfully, based on what he knew, he did not say, "Allah knows best." Allah then revealed to him, "There is a servant of mine at the junction of the two seas, who has knowledge you do not possess." This wasn't a punishment, it was a lesson in humility. Allah instructed Moses to take a basket containing a fish. He was told, "Wherever the fish disappears, there you will find my servant." Moses set out with his young companion, traditionally identified as Yusha ibn Nun or Joshua. When they reached a rock, they rested. Unknown to Moses, the fish miraculously came back to life and slipped into the sea. Joshua forgot to mention this until they had traveled much farther. Moses immediately said, "That is what we were looking for." So they returned to the rock. There they found one of our servants upon whom we had bestowed mercy from ourselves and whom we had taught knowledge from ourselves. The Prophet, may peace be upon him, later identified this servant as Al-Khidr. Moses politely asked, "May I follow you so that you teach me some of what you have been taught?" Al-Khidr replied, "You will never be able to remain patient with me." "How can you be patient concerning matters you do not fully understand?" Moses promised, "You will find me patient if Allah wills." Al-Khidr agreed, but on one condition: "Do not question me until I explain it to you." They boarded a boat owned by poor fishermen. The owners gave them a free ride. Then, to Moses' shock, Al-Khidr damaged the boat by removing part of it. Moses exclaimed, "Have you damaged it to drown its people? You have done a terrible thing." Al-Khidr simply reminded him, "Did I not tell you that you would not be able to remain patient?" Moses apologized and they continued. Later they met a young boy. Without warning, Al-Khidr killed him. Moses was horrified. He said, "Have you killed an innocent soul who killed no one? You have certainly done a dreadful thing." Again, Al-Khidr reminded him of the agreement. Moses apologized once more and said, "If I question you again, then do not keep me with you." Eventually, they entered a town. They asked for food. The people refused to host them. Despite this poor treatment, Al-Khidr found a wall about to collapse and repaired it. Moses thought this made no sense. He said, "If you wished, you could have taken payment for it. This broke the agreement." Al-Khidr said, "This is the parting between me and you." Then he explained everything. The boat belonged to poor fishermen. Ahead of them was a tyrant king who seized every good boat by force. By damaging it slightly, Al-Khidr made it appear defective. The owners would repair it later and keep their livelihood. What looked like harm was actually protection. The boy would eventually grow into a disbeliever who would oppress and deeply grieve his believing parents. Allah, in his perfect knowledge of the unseen, decreed that the boy would die young, and that the parents would later be blessed with a better child. This is one of the most difficult parts of the story, because it depends entirely on Allah's perfect knowledge. Humans are never allowed to act on such assumptions. Al-Khidr acted only through revelation from Allah. The wall belonged to two orphan boys. Beneath it was a treasure left by their righteous father. If the wall collapsed while they were still children, the treasure would likely be stolen. By repairing the wall without payment, Al-Khidr preserved the treasure until they were old enough to benefit from it. The final lesson Al-Khidr concluded, "I did not do it of my own accord. Everything he did was by Allah's command." The lesson is that human beings judge by what they can see, while Allah knows the unseen and the consequences of every event. Sometimes, a setback protects you from a greater loss, an unanswered prayer saves you from harm, or a delay leads to something better. What we learn, even great prophets continue learning. True knowledge belongs to Allah alone. We should be humble and say, "Allah knows best." Allah's wisdom may not be apparent immediately. Trust tawakkul means believing Allah's decree is wise, even when we do not understand it. But the mysteries don't stop there. Was Al-Khidr a prophet? Merely a righteous servant? An angel? Idris or Elias, may peace be upon them. The majority of classical Sunni scholars said he was a prophet because he acted on direct revelation. Others argued he was an exceptionally righteous servant, or wali, granted unique knowledge by Allah. Is he still alive? This is one of the most famous debates. Some Muslims throughout history believed Al-Khidr still walks the earth, occasionally appearing to righteous people. However, many leading Sunni scholars, including Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn al-Qayyim, rejected this, saying there is no authentic evidence that he survived until today. Another theory asks, what does the name Al-Khidr mean? In an authentic hadith, the Prophet explained that he was called Al-Khidr, the Green One, because he once sat on barren land, and it miraculously turned green beneath him. In the end, Al-Khidr remains one of Islam's greatest mysteries. We know enough to learn from him, but Allah kept enough hidden to remind us that not every mystery is meant to be solved.